If you think about Japan outside the megacities, you might think about intricate cultural history. Or perhaps breathtaking natural scenery. And one of the finest blends of these things you can find is in Nikko. As the air cools in the breath of fall, follow me as a lone traveler for 2 days, 2 parts and 2 videos to explore this enchanting land.
It has taken literally an entire morning's worth of travel, but we are finally here. This is Tobu Nikko Station.
I happen to be living on the west side of Tokyo, kind of the wrong side if you're traveling to Nikko. But now that I'm here, with the colors of fall dancing in the wind, I felt ready for some fun exploring.
So as far as Nikko goes, in terms of attractions, there are essentially 2 parts to Nikko. There is the town area, which we are at right now, and there's Okuniko, which is over the mountains in the national park where all the natural attractions are. So usually that's where I will head to, but since we'll be here for 2 days this time, we're going to spend day 1 around town checking out these significant historical sites that I've never been to before. So that's the plan.
So, like with most towns, the first thing to do here is to get on a bus so that we can get to the interesting places.
Alright, first stop, this is Shinkyo, which means like Holy Bridge. It is, I think, a very scenic bridge. Oh, there it is. Okay, somewhat unexpectedly, getting on the bridge actually requires a ticket, and I'm not overly keen on paying for that, so probably just gonna admire the bridge from afar.
Honestly, I think the bridge is in fact best enjoyed from a distance. Its bright red contrasting the flowing stream below and complementing the vibrant leaves.
Okay, that was nice. We're gonna go ahead and head deeper into the World Heritage Shrine and Temples area now. Obviously the autumn colors are also kind of coming in, adding a nice touch of color to everything. Very nice.
The historical significance of Nikko stems from 2 important structures: a temple founded all the way back in the 8th century, and the opulent mausoleum of the shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu. These form the core around which the village and town of Nikko developed, and remain as beautiful cultural artifacts that can be visited today.
So that, I believe, is Rinnoji Temple. They seem to be ringing some sort of a gong or a bell. There. Pretty cool. We'll probably come back for this later, but we're heading to the mausoleum first. So this is the Toshogu Mausoleum, and there is a surprising amount of people here queuing for tickets to go in. It's a Monday. Okay, we got our ticket. Wow. I knew this was the #1 attraction in Nikko, but I didn't know it was this popular. Anyway, let's start heading in. Isn't that something? So apparently this shrine was built as a mausoleum for Tokugawa Ieyasu, who established a shogunate that ruled Japan for 200 years, sometime during the 15th, 16th, 17th century, thereabouts. It's apparently built by his grandson for him, and his grandson's own mausoleum is next door, and as a sign of respect to his grandfather, is somewhat less opulent. This one, they pulled out all the stops, as you can see.
Past the ornately decorated Yomeimon Gate is the main shrine building, also resplendent in golden trimmings and covered with intricate sculptures. I followed the crowd towards the right and passed under the apparently famous sleeping cat carving. Beyond was sunlight and the green of the forest.
So there was a sign towards a carving of a sleeping cat, and behind it is this walkway. I think it probably leads up to the tomb itself.
Just then, a gentle drizzle fell upon us, almost as if to add to the solemn atmosphere. Out in the open, austere compared to all that prior opulence, was the shogun's tomb itself.
If I'm not mistaken, Tokugawa Ieyasu is the one that moved the imperial capital from Kyoto to Edo, which is present-day Tokyo. So he's probably a big part of the reason why Tokyo is the capital of Japan today. So a guy of some non-trivial eminence, I guess you could say.
Nearby here you could actually buy some sleeping cat omikuji, which was kind of cute.
Heading down now, and it's a little bit funny because you actually have to climb a significant amount of stairs to get up to that tomb, and everybody's huffing and puffing. Okay, so that was actually pretty cool. We got to enter this main building of the shrine here, and it's not a very large space, but it's ornately decorated, and it has a feeling of oldness. You can kind of feel that it's centuries old. There's kind of a cordon off room that apparently is the room that the shogun would use to personally use when he visits the shrine. And there was a shrine maiden who was explaining bits and pieces from the shrine. There are these illustrations of 100 dragons on the ceiling, so rather cool. And we're done. That was nice. It is rather late already, there was more stuff to see in there than I expected, but I guess that kind of makes up for the price tag and the long queue for the tickets. So I still want to check out Rinnoji, the temple we were at earlier. I think I have enough time for that, but the Grandson's Mausoleum will probably have to wait for another trip. Also, I suddenly realized that I haven't had anything to eat yet, so before we get to that, I'm gonna walk around a bit and see if I can find anything to chow on. Leaves are nice. Okay, I don't know where people have lunch here, but I didn't find anything except a very small shop selling a bit of drinks and a bit of snacks. Fortunately, I did pack myself a rice ball, so it's time to put that to use, I guess. Alright, no queuing needed for this one. And unfortunately, the interior is no video and no photo yet again, so talk to you later. Right, so not too much to see. There are a number of pretty impressive looking Buddha golden statues, very large ones as well. But what's even more interesting is that apparently the temple was first founded in 772, so that is an impressively long time ago. I don't believe that this is the original structure, that's almost certainly not the case, but apparently the temple itself dates back like 1,200, 300 years. So I also got tickets for the treasure gallery and the Japanese garden next to it, so let's go check those out next.
It was a relatively small garden, but elegant and serene in the quietly spreading evening.
So yeah, no using the camera in the museum. What else is new? And there's some interesting artifacts in there, some dating all the way back to the 10th century. But if I'm being honest, the thing I liked the most was the seats in the heated area. It's starting to get pretty cold now. Anyway, I'm done with sightseeing for today. It's time to take a bus back into town and I don't know, get some food. So here's the problem I'm having. It's kind of too early for dinner now, even though there's a lot of food places here. And the place that I'm living at is a little bit of a walk from here. So I kind of don't want to go there, check in, and then come back out here to eat again. So I think the plan is I'm just going to pop into a convenience store, get myself some bento that I'll bring to the hotel, and then I'll just eat the bento at the accommodation and spend the rest of the day there. Well, I was waiting for the staff to restock the shelves, and next thing I know, it's dark. Time for the still pretty long walk to my accommodation. Whew, I shall be glad to see a bed after this.
Unfortunately, it being Japan, it gets dark fairly quickly this time of year, and leaving the small town center quickly plunges me into dim conditions.
I think this is one of those I'd be pretty worried if we were in Japan kind of situations. Uphills.
Thankfully, this is in fact Japan, and I soon arrived without incident at my hostel in the residential area up a hill. Having secured my bed, the next priority is of course to try to take a bath.
Right, so that looked like a typical shared bath, except there was no water. But there's no men and women, so I'm wondering if we're just supposed to lock the door and use it one at a time. Probably have to go ask the staff. So far, seems nice and cozy enough. Okay, so I was pretty much correct about the shower. I asked the staff. So apparently there used to be the men's here and then the women's used to be elsewhere. But they don't have enough guests nowadays, so this is just everyone's bathroom now, and you basically just take the whole thing, come inside, lock the room, and then you have the whole thing to yourself. So I guess I'll have the whole thing to myself. A shame there's no hot water dip though.
After heating up my convenience store bento, I sat down for a quiet dinner in the hostel's common area. usual, the bento was absolutely delicious, and eating in a nice, warm room was incredibly comforting. After dinner, I made some leisurely use of the free Wi-Fi, as well as the warm tea provided for us, before retiring to my bunk bed. Tomorrow, I head into the mountains of Oku Nikko for an incredible hike.